Hey, I am here with Darick Robertson, artist of a bunch of my favorite books, including Transmet and the New Warriors, issues 50 through, did you do through 75? No, 25 through 50 at least.
Yes.
And first of all, let me say it's an honor to talk to you because those are some of my favorite comic books of all time.
Thanks very much.
And because of that, it's actually because of the way that you drew Speedball.
Thanks.
Who is my favorite character of all time.
Who's my favorite to draw in the series. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I really love that character.
It's so I hope you don't mind if we just kind of sit and gab about that character a little bit.
That would be wonderful, actually. Nobody ever wants to talk about Speedball.
Well, he's a character that obviously everyone makes fun of because no one wants to talk about him.
That's kind of what I like about him, though.
And
I liked about him. The current incarnation isn't. I'm kind of sad that he's not that kind of geeky kid anymore.
I tell you what, I can't tell you how because it's going to be filming, and not that I'm employed by Marvel, but I've already written the story which gets Speedball back his powers.
Okay.
Because if that moment ever comes that the Marvel says, hey, what do you wanted to write? I'll say, damn it, Speedball right there. But so what about him when you first came on to New Warriors? What was the character that kind of was it the most challenge for you? Was it Speedball because he's so frenetic and he's a little bit like Spider-Man in a way that his limbs go a lot of ways, but I mean, for you, what was the hardest character?
Night Thrasher, I didn't like drawing very much. I thought his costume was really complicated, and I always I got lucky enough that during the run they let me tweak the costumes for a while and do my own thing with them. And
well, they had that whole issue where Rage got his new costume.
Yeah, and then that started me, and Fabian was so much fun to collaborate with. He and I are still good friends, and we had such a good relationship during that book that when and Rob Tokar, who was the editor at the time, they were really open-minded, and so like when I got all enthusiastic and go, I got ideas for new costumes, they were open to it. And I remember with Speedball, going back to Night Thrasher, I remember doing Night Thrasher and just wanting him he ended up looking a lot like what they did Blade looked like in the movie with Wesley Snipes. I had actually redesigned him to look more like that before that movie came out, but they didn't. But he had his own solo book, so they wouldn't let me play with him. But the rest of them, I got to do some stuff too. I tweaked Nova's. Like I didn't like that Nova's nose got cut off, so I kind of made his helmet a little different and made that star kind of come down here.
I remember that.
Things like that. And at the time, because of what was popular in the 90s, everybody, like all the X-Men were wearing leather jackets, which I thought was kind of funny. So I put a leather jacket on Speedball that was a little too big for him because I could see him always kind of wanting to be a cooler hero than he was. Because I love the idea of embracing the fact that he was a geeky hero. Yeah, well, and I remember that panel because someone said it's like Carlito's Way. I think either Rage or Namorda or someone said that looks dorky. It looks like Carlito's Way, and he was so I totally get that. I didn't know that was your idea. That's great. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, and Fabian and I we riffed off that. I knew that was Fabian sort of playing with what I was presenting as well, and we enjoyed that. And I thought the cool thing about I got to write a Speedball story that was in the back of one of the annuals. I
remember that one.
But like I always liked that idea that at the end of the day, though, even if he's a nerd, even if he's not a cool hero, he's got power, and kind of a deadly one, as they ended up using. Well,
and so I wanted to explain the annual that Darick wrote is basically a bully comes up. I can talk Speedball all day. Yeah, bully comes up and pours, or Robbie knocks a soda out of a bully's hand, out of a jock's hand, pours the soda on Robbie's head, and Robbie has to walk away, even though I think the line is, if I punch him, it's like a truck hitting him.
Yeah.
And I always I'm not sucking up here. I've read that 12 pages or however many pages it was so many times because it's a perfect, especially when you're a teenager going through that. Like, exactly. It's a perfect way of saying that'd be awesome to have those powers, but holy crap, you couldn't do the fantasy things that you would want to do.
No, he's just restraining himself the whole time because he's good. At the end of the day, that's what made him a hero in my eyes. It's like he's a hero because he could hold that power back. He was a hero because he could walk away and save face. And I remember high school. Fight, everybody's there goading him on, and yet he showed some restraint. So I thought that was cool.
Creative-wise. how did it work with the New Warriors with Fabian? I mean, was there? You said there was a little bit back and forth because of the costumes, but were you also pitching ideas back and forth with the direction, or is that pretty much all Fabian?
I think it was all Fabian in that regard. I mean, he would plot it out, and I'd get scripts, and he was writing so much at the time, it wasn't a lot of time for us to hash things out. But we were friends, and like we still are, but at the time we were friends then, and we could talk about, you know, where things were going. We discuss ideas at conventions. It was fun. It was collaborative, and I really enjoyed it.
During the, I want to say it's the times past, during the issues leading up to 50, or right around then, there were some blurb boxes saying that soon we're going to find out that Speedball isn't who he thought he was.
Yeah,
and then that never came to pass.
No,
What was it? What happened there? What
was a great storyline that he was going to do. And it kind of was doubled with me sort of burning out on the monthly New Warriors book, getting offered some other Marvel stuff that I wanted to do, and just feeling like 25 was a good step-off point.
Sure.
But because Fabian was so stretched so thin, he wasn't sure how much longer he was going to write it, and I don't think he wrote it much longer after 50, did he?
No. I think it maybe went 51, 52.
Yeah, and then I know Evan Skolnick took over, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, and but the idea that we had then was going to be that body, that, I'm sorry, I'm a little frazzled.
No, okay.
That Robbie's body was going to wash up on shore in Jersey somewhere, and Robbie, meanwhile, is like sitting in the headquarters, and they go, "They found your body."
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "What?" But I'm right here. Turns out, like, the accident separated him from his physical body, and that he's made up of nothing but those little balls. Like his entire, and that actually opens up a whole new world for what he could do and how he can manipulate his powers. He was going to go talk to Reed Richards about it. It was going to be a pretty cool.
I'm sad that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was going to be a good story, and like I don't remember exactly why we didn't just keep going, but just things were changing really fast then. At the time, Marvel was in their heyday as during that mid-90s bubble, and nothing's kind of stayed consistent very long. So.
Now that I think about it, though, I can see that you guys were building towards that, because there's that X-Force crossover where they couldn't read Robbie's mind, and he was able to basically stop all his power, knocked him out. But all right, now I'm really geeking out. I'm sorry.
I drew him once as like he had to put himself back toger. I remember drawing that.
Oh, in the time where he was traveling through time, and then he figured out that his bubbles each was a segmented moment in time.
Yeah.
I wish.
So it was going to go further into that crazy.
That's awesome.
But there was good stuff. I always liked the idea. I actually wrote a Max treatment that I really wanted to do, and they wouldn't let me take that character that direction, so I never really got to go far with it.
Yet they did.
And yet they always said, don't do, Well, yeah, but it wasn't dark. It was more funny. It was like I had an idea where it was going to be Robbie, like, realizing he's never going to be one of the cool heroes. Why doesn't he get a life? And it was like, and him and Rage kind of follows him around as this sort of man-child and that weirdness, but they're like family at that point. So I had ideas, but
that disappoints me. I didn't get to see that, but I probably geeked out on Speedball here enough, Darick. But I appreciate your taking the time with us, and anytime you're in Seattle, let me know. Obviously you have a website though. Is it DarickRobertsonArt.com? Is that? Am I remembering that?
DarickRobertson.com.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm remembering years ago.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so DarickRobertson.com if you want to buy.
On Facebook, that's probably a better place to follow me.
Yeah, and you have original art there for sale and everything. Like that?
On the website, I do. Generally, I'm just doing the comics. So.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Darick.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Record Man, the joke's on you. Running your